really says it. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Throwdown. As always, I'm your host, X to the D to the A to the L to the Y, your longest running show, episodic show in 239 history because we are the only ones who do it. I hear a little bit, oh, Esso's lost his flame, Sober's doing sober things. Dom and Donnie are blaming Sober and Esso. It's this whole madness. But we're here every week. We are the Throwdown. We are. So all that that gripe and all that chirp, but we're here and we're ready to go. We got some stuff to talk about. We're going to be doing some team breakdowns today, but something specific, some interesting insight into the teams. It may be a shorter show as Pale and myself both have series tonight, so we'll probably run about an hour here just so we can get practicing with our teams. But we want to focus on some of the special team stuff. But before I get into that, let me introduce the panel with me. I've got, as always, none other than the infamous Pale Poner. How you doing?
Doing awesome, man. Looking forward to another throwdown. I think this is our third one in a row. It's pretty exciting. Pretty good. Pretty good, guys. Way to go. We got it going. Cortez, how you feeling today, man?
Feeling pretty good. I mean, we're all pretty excited. The NHL 19 beta just came out. I think all of us would rather not be playing the rest of the season on 18. Sadly, the beta is only like a week long, I think, or like, I don't know. It's still the second. But I'm doing good. I mean, I've been playing that all day, so feeling good. I'm happy to have the third consecutive throwdown.
Yeah, I mean, and now that like we're gonna get back into it, like we're gonna be back to our normal routine. Let's not forget that this was the longest running episodic show for a long time for a reason. I think we ran this thing for like a year and a half straight. So don't worry about it. We're back in some sort of capacity. The Twitch thing is kind of hit and miss. So that's
once I get wired internet again, like I'm on hardwired, I will bring us back to Twitch, but I cannot stream on this right now because I'm going through a Wi-Fi extender to just be on my computer. So not good. Basically, you have a Wi-Fi chip in your computer, and then I have something plugged into the wall, so my Wi-Fi comes to my room stronger, and then it comes through that into my computer. And it's a mess. It's a fucking mess.
Basically, we got some stuff happening in the next couple weeks. I've got some shit on my end in the works as well that could definitely help with some of this too. So, anyways, enough of that. We're here. It's the Throwdown, and let's get into something interesting. So, first of all, I want to make point on this. So, right now, the season has actually been fairly split as far as parity goes. Not one of the tighter seasons that we've had thus far. You've got this basically tiered out into 4 tiers when you're looking at the numbers. You got Joey Stopa and the boys are 15-3. They're having a hell of a run. Cortez 14-4. Damps 11-4-3. And then even if you wanted to throw Marty McFly into this mix, that could be tier 1. They're 9-5-1. So when you're looking at it, like that's kind of tier 1. Those are some pretty good records. That next, there's kind of a drop off. Now we're talking 500 and below. Dominator Silva and the boys 7-6-2. Noah Gretzky 7-3-2. Schwartz 6-3. They granted they've only played 9 games. They got a series tonight, so that will obviously change. But that's kind of like your next tier. And then you have kind of the bottom of the barrel guys fighting for that 7-8 spot right now. That's Jelly 5-5-2. Mac North is 5-7. Drug Monkey is 4-6. X and we'll stop it there. I'm not going to put myself in that tier. And the last tier here, Daily 2-7-3. Yambag 1-10-1. Wow. And Pale Poner 1-8. So again, you do have some series to play. The big thing to take away from the standings and what I'm seeing right now is that even these teams at 1-8, 1-10, 2-7, still very, very much in it basically for these last 2 spots. You're looking at 12 points gets you into a playoff. Now, granted, it's early, but it's kind of fun to look at stuff like this. So with the amount of teams actually underachieving right now or games in hand, there's a lot of things that can still change. So it kind of got us to thinking, what may be some of the reasons these teams have struggled so far. So I want to start with you, Pale. You're bottom of the barrel right now. Granted, there are some games in hand, but you guys are sitting at 1-8, not where you wanted to start the season. I know you've had some availability issues with your team, but let's look at the special teams is what I specifically want to focus on today because it's something that we do on the show. It doesn't get enough airtime. So, Pale, when you look at your guys' penalty kill percentage, it's at 89%, which is actually top 5 in the league, top 4 specifically. But that power play percentage is at 5%. 5% is a very, very low number. It looks like you guys have had some chances as well. Obviously, 16 goals in 9 games isn't going to get it done. But I pose this question. Are the special teams arguably the most important aspect of online hockey and league? And I'll send it over to you, Pale, a team that's been struggling so mightily. Is it so prevalent that you bury and capitalize on those 5-on-4, 5-on-3, whatever it may be situations?
Yeah, I think the power play especially, you just have to score on the power play. You don't typically get a lot. Now, I played Cortez's team last night, and I was able to draw a lot of power plays out of them. They took a lot of penalties on me, but we could not get it done. We could not put it in the net on those power plays. I think we had almost a 2-minute 5-on-3 that they killed off that we just couldn't do anything with. But the power play is just, it's a turning point. You get a chance to take advantage and make something happen. And if you can't, like, that's momentum the other way. That's the other team saying, okay, we played them really well defensively. We beat that power play. Let's turn around and get some offense going the other way. And, I think just overall the power play is really key for pretty much any team. I mean, there's going to be some teams that are going to buck the trend and they're going to score most of their goals, even strength and stuff like that. But if you can't score on the power play when your team needs it, or on the penalty shot, which I got stoned on last night as well, your team's just not going to do well because you're not going to be able to score the amount of goals that you need to.
So I'm going to send it over to you, Bailey. I mean, those are all really good points by Pale, but like, especially in this league with how competitive it is, when you do manage to get a player off the ice, regardless of who the player is, I mean, you have to bury him. It's just something that has to be done.
Well, so the thing about the power play is we know a lot about how NHL is carried with like momentum. And we know that when you get a power play, the game is shifted in your favor. And I know some people argue that there is momentum, some that don't. I'm one of those people that's like, there is momentum in the game. When you have a power play, you got to bury that puck somehow because it's going to do multiple things. Momentum is going to keep carrying in your favor in the game. Number 2, it's going to piss off the goalie. Number 3, it's going to piss off the team at the player that got the penalty, and it's going to piss off the guy who got the penalty. And it does an assortment of things in favor for the team that has the power play. So to score, it's very crucial. But if they don't, all it does is that team that just killed it off, hey, we just stopped them with 4 players on the ice. Now we got 5. We were all focused on defense. Now let's get a puck in their net because momentum shifted in our favor, and let's score. Like Pale said it perfectly, but you just got to find a way to produce. But I will tell you, I think this is one of the seasons we've had so far with the least power play percentage in a long time. Like most of the time we saw a team around 30, like we saw a lot of teams around 20, if not 30. Right now, the highest one is Jelly with 26.7. And it's Marty McFly with 31.8. Sorry. Yeah. But like most of the other ones, if you're not in those 20s, I think there's 2 with like 18 and the rest is below 15. And there's a lot of lower ones. Like Schwartz is 0% on the power play.
Now that could be a tracking error too, because Schwartz is not the brightest guy in the world.
True, with stats, not to the brightest thing. Schwartz, I love you. Okay,
sorry, man, we love you. But I'm just shout out to OP Jelly for just fucking getting them in on time. Do you guys know that OP Jelly is so worried about stats that he actually told me about an error in my stats? Like that's how committed he is to doing his stats now. I'm so pumped. Like after a loss, I'm sure we aren't going to have to wait like the 3 days that we waited for after the last loss. So that's good to know. Fergie, the show's at the same time every week, but here you are. So welcome, man.
I had a foul. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. My fucking cat ruined one of my headphones. It's like chewed off, so I'm a little pissed off already to start today. But I had a bowel movement to take care of. It's just how life happens, man. So how's everybody doing?
We're good, man. We're breaking down some of these special teams, and so now that I'm bringing you in, I'm gonna make the point I was gonna make. If you look at a lot of the teams who are in playoff spots securely at the moment, Marty McFly at 32% on the power play, Jelly sitting in that 7 seed, kind of teeter-totting 27%. But what that tells me is that when they do get their chances on the power play, they're making a count, which is super big for them. They need to do that. Cortez is a top 3 team, 25%. Joey Stopa, number 1 in the league, they're 20%. Thamps, number 3 in the league, 18.8%. Brian with a Y, they're like 4th or 5th. They're sitting at 18-5. And then every single team who's fighting for a playoff spot right now or is underachieving, all these power play percentages are ass. Drug Monkey 13.6, Daily 13.6, Mac North 13.3, Yambak 7.7, Dominator Silva 7.5, Pale at 5%, and Schwartz is legitimately has a 0% on the power play. So again, common denominator here, the teams that are capitalizing on their power plays are showing and being reflected in the standings with the exception of OP Jelly. So let's talk about Jelly's team, all trolling aside. You know, if this team was not scoring on the power play, where would their offense be coming from? This goes to show you how important that aspect of the game is because they really wouldn't be scoring any other which way. They're scoring on, 27% of those chances. So
yeah, but to be fair, there's only 4 power play goals, so they're not really getting many power plays, is what it seems to be.
So they're not generating, and I understand that there's a lot to it as well. Let me actually pull that up here. We'll go power play goals attempted, and then I can put power play goals. Shout out to Pixel on the scoreboard. How cool is that? That we can literally have. I can add stats in there. I can take shit away. Like I don't give a fuck about hits. Let me remove that stat so I can sort it that way.
What is PPGA? It's not attempted because it's not showing up as that or power plays. PPA. Yeah, they've had 15 power play attempts compared to Thamps, who's had 32, or Dominator Silva that's had 40. And so they're not getting a lot of them.
So diving into that stat a little bit further, when you're looking at it, Thamps is 6 for 32. What do you got here? Okay, so let's look at some of these teams like the Drug Monkeys and the No Regretskis and the Daily. And I mean, these are 20 plus chances, and you're converting like 3 of those chances. Schwartz is 0 for 12. Pale 1 for 20. I mean, 20 chances is a good amount. Dominator Silva and the boys are 3 for 40 on the power play. 3 for 40. I know they're in this playoff spot right now, but you cannot continue to move forward and go 3 for 40 on the power play and expect it to happen. It's just not going to. So let's look at the other side of the spectrum. I'm going to sort this out for penalty kill percentage because this is almost as important obviously as scoring goals is keeping them out of the net. So let's look at the common denominator. First place, Cortez EA 59% for his team. Joey Stopa 39.8. Schwartz 93.8. Schwartz 93.3. Pale is the exception, sitting in last place, but they are one of the best penalty killing teams in the league. Thamps 87.5. Dominator Silva 86.4. And then you have the others. Marty McFly is the only team up there secured with a playoff spot, and No Regretski 71%. These numbers are a little bit alarming too, because now you can start to really point out where the weaknesses are. So let's take a team like No Regretskis. They're 7-3-2, a couple games over 500. I know they had a rough start, playing a little bit better, but 71.4% PK percentage is not going to get it done, not in this league. So Pale, we're diving into these stats. We're looking at the special teams, and you see, is it fair to assume that the reason that the teams have been struggling and where the teams are at, it's specifically 100% because of their special teams and how they're executing it?
I mean, I don't know about 100%. Like I said, I think the special teams is a big part, and I think it's a really important part to having a successful team. But you have to be able to score 5-on-5 too. You have to be able to defend 5-on-5, and it really the amount of penalties you take and the amount of power plays you draw are important as well. I agree that it's a common denominator between all these teams that are struggling for the most part, with 1 or 2 exceptions. And it is a large part, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily become less important. But you'll start to see the teams that perform at even strength start to rise to the top more so than the teams that are killing it on the power play and the PK. That's in my opinion, anyway.
So I have another interesting stat. Shout out to Pixel yet again, aka The Rock. We have a sort on this for goals for scored in the first period, goals for scored, and goals for scored in the third period, right? So let's take a guess. Goals for in the first period. Do you want to take a guess? The teams on the bottom of that list are probably, I don't know, sitting in the bottom of the standings right now. Fair assessment. Let's see. Goals scored in the first. Pale, you've scored 5 goals in the first period in 9 games. That's 5 of your goals have come in the first period. Yambak scored 6. Daly scored 6. Mac North scored 8. Jelly 9. Dominator Silva 9. And then everybody else is in double digits. But all the teams that I just mentioned struggling. So my question to you, Cortez, is it important to get off to that early start in what we know as NHL 18 and why?
Okay, it depends on your team and kind of the attitude of everyone on your team. Now, our team, we get scored on in the first period, and most of our wins we battle back. And we get scored on in the first period. Our heads are still in the game the whole time. We don't get down at all because we're down a goal. It really depends on your team. But if you're a team that struggles offensively, you need to get that first goal. So the rest of the game, you are confident in your guys' play. You know that you kind of have that cushion of a goal to work with. So it is crucial, but I think it just depends on your team's attitude.
Okay. Now, I'm sending it over to you, Mr. Mark Ferguson. Although, dude, we haven't seen a Hawaiian shirt in a while. I wanted to make note of that. I do respect the chest hair coming out of the top of your shirt there. I respect the hell out of that. Very Dago of you. But what do you think, man? Like, when you look at this, is it important to get off to that early start? I believe in the backing of this data and this information, which is so nice for us to really obtain and have at our fingertips. I think it's important to have that early start. Do you think that it is, or you're like, you know what, that first one goes in, it's whatever? I feel like it changes the game for my teammates, for everything. But what is it like for you, and what do you think on the topic of that first period goals?
I think yes, to a point. I mean, yeah, I think it's important to get out to a quick lead. It's big for morale, big for how people play. People play a lot better when they're not stressed out. I mean, it's why people always say keep the party light. You don't want negative people in your party. You want people to be happy. Well, it's hard to be mad when you're up by a goal right away, you know. But I do look at, like you're talking about these, you know, the second period and the third period. I mean, our team, with I'm on match team, we're in the bottom echelon of the first two periods. But then you go to period 3, we start to creep up into the upper half. I wouldn't say we're in the top half or top part, but upper half where we're starting to get a lot of our goals in the third period. Why that is, I don't know if it's just an urgency thing where we're attacking more. So I think it's kind of a neat thing to look at as a team aspect. You can go, I didn't even know this was a feature until you literally just brought it up, but it's kind of neat as for me looking and playing with these guys, like, well, why don't we have that urgency in the first period? Why don't we have 15 goals in the first period and not instead of the third? You know, it obviously would help us pick up some more wins maybe here and there, but I do think it has a factor in how your team plays the rest of the game, how everybody's attitude is, but I don't think it's a telltale all. You know, I think there's still a point of, you know, having a veteran player or players that can kind of rally and bring your team back into something.
Yeah, it's very cool. And like, again, this is going to be a very stat-based show today. Not that we don't do it all other times, but just today more so than other shows, it's going to touch on a lot of the numbers. So for us, when I'm looking at everything perspective-wise, it's cool to be able to dive into this data and look. I mean, we're a small sample size, 4 series thus far. But, you know, after this week and the week after, now we're about, you know, what, close to over a third of the season, right? So now things start to really shape up. So I want to touch on something that Grish, shout out to Grish. I don't know if he watches this show, but Cortez and I were looking over his ELO ratings, which are kind of a really cool thing. So sorry, Pale and Mark, if you want it, they're under the main forum. Grish posted them on there. But the ELO ratings are kind of cool because it talks about playoff chance and playoff probability. Now, I know right now it's very early to really dive into this, but this is something that's rotating for him pretty consistently. So it's kind of cool to look and see. So take right now, like Joe Stowe is in first. They're, what are they? 13-2, something like that. I forget the record.
15-2, I think I'm 14.
Okay, so they're 15-3, or 15-3. They'd have to be 18 games. So they're 15-3. This this hasn't been updated before their last series by Grish, but it tells their playoff probability based on what seems to be. I'm not sure what the dynamic. Maybe you can touch on it a bit more, Cortez. What is the dynamic for these ratings and these predictions and probabilities? Where does it come from?
So to my understanding, it's what Grish has said is it's a simulation that runs 100,000 times. And what it does is when it does that, it will calculate what teams you've played, how many goals you've scored in X periods, how many penalties you've taken, how many penalties you've killed. And it continues to simulate that. And what it does is it puts you up against each team's statistics so far. And that's where the rankings come of, like, that's why No Regretsky's right now with 7-3-2 are above my squad at 11-4. And it's because that last series that we had just lost to them, that they came in and beat us, but because we were ranked higher than most teams and on the simulation, we beat most teams, but they beat us. It put them higher than us because of the simulations afterwards. So it's something that Grish runs where it continuously simulates how your team is done with how many goals for, goals against, and stuff. And from there, it will simulate, do you finish in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or eighth, or below that. So when you go and look at it, it will tell you your chances of finishing from first to eighth or below eighth. So it's really cool what Grish set up. It's very complicated, but it's very cool.
It's cool reference. And like the one thing I want to touch on it, if you look at Yambag's team, he is less than 1% in every single category, which is always super funny if you're not, it's literally, so like if you aren't looking at the actual ELO sheet, it says playoff chance and then the percentage of making it. So perspective, right? What's a perspective here? Joe Stowe has a 99% chance to make the playoffs currently as it sits, which is great. Yambag has less than 1% chance. He is the only team that has a less than 1% chance of making the postseason right now, which is
sorry. Actually, my bad. I need to make I made a mistake. What's after eighth? It says belt. I assumed when I first read it, it meant the chances of winning the belt, and I think that's what it was, but then I started to assume it was below eighth place. I don't know why I thought that, but I think that's just percent chances of winning the belt. Sorry, yes. I wanted to correct that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's the belt is definitely the percentage chance of actually winning the damn thing. So again, if you haven't checked it out, apparently it's this fluctuating thing that's happening every week. Be sure to check it out. Grish is obviously doing some raw data stuff in there, which it comes out great. He makes it very, very appealing. Super cool. I dig it a lot, and it's just kind of nice to have data like this because it goes outside the extended goals, assists, points, whatever. It dives a little bit deeper into these simulations where it's like, okay, you're going to play this team X amount of times and we're going to run the number and this is how it works out or whatever it may be. So very, very cool on that. So let's move along to, I want to talk about something with players. I feel like the last couple of weeks, we've really focused on the teams getting acclimated. It's nice for us the first couple of weeks because, we have to memorize the teams and the players and who's with who and who's with what. So we do spend the first couple of weeks really trying to get a grip on stuff like that. But now that we've moved into this, I want to talk about let's talk about the point standings. I think, 15 games in for most, 12, 18, whatever the case may be. And let's look at who's up there in the leaderboards. Now, this is a name that really came along last year. He's currently leading the league in points, and that's Welcome to the Web. Now, Marty's got a nice little squad over there. They're running at 9-6. Webb seems to be the catalyst for the offense, averaging almost 3 points per game, and they're playing some pretty good puck. Pale, are you surprised to see Webb at the top of the leaderboard here, or are you kind of like, nah, I expect it at this point?
No, I mean, first off, Marty's offense is great. He's got himself on right D. He's got Hugh on center and BTW on left wing. Like, he's got a really good offense just from the players that he has. And then you throw like Welcome to the Web in there, and Welcome to the Web, he won the Rocket Richard last season. He's a guy that just can put up points. And he's been taken off as center. He can play right wing, which I think is his more natural position. And, he gets to focus on points. So, I mean, I'm not really surprised that Welcome to the Web's up there. I think he's going to be up there all season, especially with the way that his team was built and constructed. Yeah, I mean, Welcome to the Web. He's a great player, and he's a guy that I thought would go in the top, 1, 2, maybe 3 picks, and he did. And that's the reason why.
Another name here, Fergie, that we're seeing and it's starting to become a household name is Thamps. Thamps continues. I think I want to say it was season 4 we won the cup. I always got to throw that cheap plug in there. Season 4, that was the last time I was relevant, by the way. Season 4 we won the cup, and when we did that, Thamps was playing a very different player. He was getting back into the swing of things. From season 5 on, I had made mention that like this guy doesn't score 100-point seasons. This is not something that he does. Well, he's on his pace for yet again another one. His team is absolutely firing on all cylinders, and he is the 100% the catalyst behind the offense. So, Fergie, I send it to you. Is Thamps, Dustin Thompson, becoming a household name here in 239?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think I would agree with you back in season 4. I think I would agree with you that I wouldn't have called him a 100-point season guy, on the league. But the last couple seasons, he's really proved that he can score and he can actually lead an offense. And I think he's kind of surrounded himself with some very good people in Hockeytown, and Viper. Yeah, that's our two wingers. And those two, I mean, I think they complement him really well because Viper's really good at finding open ice and setting up for the shot. He doesn't seem like he creates as much space for himself, but Thamps having somebody open is what he needs because Thamps is the guy, he wants the puck. I mean, everybody, I think, has figured that out in the last 3 seasons. Thamps likes having the puck. He likes to control the offense, which is fine. He's good at it. He's good at dangling. I mean, he's done a really good job, and I think he's done a really great job at adapting to 18. So I think for sure, I think he's going to make 100 points easily this season. It'll be interesting to see how he competes with Webb, and obviously Swag's up there at number 2 spot with 39 points. So he's doing a great job this season for his team, and those guys are a really potent offense right now.
Cortez, I mean, Marky just touched on him, but amazing Viper, man. I feel like he does this. He's done this the last 2 years where he's got himself up there in the points lead. I think he's currently second in the league in goals behind Welcome to the Web, if I do remember. Yeah, he is tied with Swag for second at 19. You know, is this guy really ready to break through the mold and be considered, you know, one of those nice mid-tier complement players? Or is he a product of playing with Thamps and in that system?
Well, so without trashing Viper, because that's not what this is intended to do, I don't even want to say compliment player because I don't think that's that. He's an attribute of who he plays with. But at the same time, he has the same play style. We touched up on it last show, actually. He has the same play style every time he plays. It just depends on who he's playing with, if it's going to work or not. So he will be a guy that gets you some goals. Like when he was on your roster there, I think it was Hugh Laurie, and who else did you have?
Russ, Hockey Town. Yeah, I think he scored 40 that year too. Like he did. He had a ton of goals.
Exactly. So it depends on who he's playing with. Like he can put in the goal. He knows how to put the puck in the net. It's just the fact of, Mark said it perfectly. You give him open ice, somebody give him the puck, he'll put it in the net. I just think that's where it kind of comes in with the complement player of Thamps who carries the puck around, tries to find it, or Russ can move the puck around and try to find him. But still, you have to have that talent to put the puck in the net, and he does that. So I don't want to use the word compliment, but I also don't want to say that he is formed himself into that player.
I mean, that's
yeah, he does, and he does, and he's good at making those shifty little dekes and stuff that works for him. I just think give him in this season to continue to do what he does. Maybe next season when he's on a whole different, maybe if he's on a whole different offensive lineup, we'll see at that point. But I think he's above where he used to be. I just think he still can go higher.
Well, just so we know, he scored 30. I'm looking at the stats right now. He had 35 last season, and he scored 33 in season number 6. So this is a guy that's continuing putting 30 goals and shout out to Pix on these stats. The fact that I can pull this shit up like so quick is super, super cool.
But aren't they ideally like the same offensive lineups? Like you went from Hugh Laurie and Russ to Viper, and then you went from Russ and Viper and
Thamps
to Thamps.
Yeah. And then doing it again, aren't you? Like, isn't that the same offensive lineup again?
Yeah, I think here's the point to take away from this as far as it comes to with Viper. You know, this is a guy that in season number 5 spent a lot of time on the Dailies rejects. Now, a lot of the players on that team are either have now gone on and proven that they are guys that can play in this league, or they've left the league. One of two things has happened. Shout out to Peaceful Bob. Shout out to OP Jelly, who's won a cup. Shout out to Amazing Viper. Like these are guys that have either gone on to be great contributors and players in the league, or they've disappeared. And there's a couple names that have come from it. So a guy who's come literally from the Dailies reject season. And by the way, I hated that. And I was number 1, did not want that to happen. I was against that very much so. The expansion team, but that's not here nor there. But he's had 2 back-to-back 30-goal seasons. He's got 19 already, so he's definitely on pace for his 3rd consecutive 19-goal season. I think that of all the players up there in the top scoring right now, I think that he's definitely earned his airtime today because he's been playing the hell out of it. But I want to touch on comeback seasons. And I think that it's important because, you know, it's so hard to stay relevant in online leagues. I'm sorry. I have like the worst itch on my chest and it's bothering the fuck out of me. But
just show us those pecs, man, and go at it.
I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Chest hair, we need it.
I don't want to embarrass anybody on this show.
Did you notice the GIF? Did you notice the GIF I used for you on the Throwdown post?
No, man. Listen, I've offered to get you in the gym and get you right, but you ain't want it. You ain't ready yet.
No, I do. Just, okay, we'll talk about it another time.
We'll talk later, but here's the thing. I want to talk about this guy because this is my best friend. So I want to give my best friend some airtime, and that's none other than Kiefer, a.k.a. McSwagger, or what is he now? Swagger 92. Swag X 92. Stop changing her name. Change it to Kiefer. That's all I ask. Here's here's the thing, man. 18 games, 39 points. This guy has been top 5 in scoring, and this guy has been literally bottom 10 in scoring. When you look at McSwagger's game, Pill, we know what kind of game it is. It's kind of sort of like not conventional. Why has he had so much success thus far early in the season playing with Cortez? What do you think is the big reasons for that? Pale? No?
Oh, me? My fault.
Yeah. Sorry. No, you're good.
No. We just played this team last night, and Swag just kept on getting behind our defense, and I mean that's the way that he plays. That's how he gets up ice, and he can burn you. And he does it a lot. He knows how to do it a lot. So, why it's working with Cortez? I mean, Cortez and Tom FTW are good, high IQ players. They know how to make the pass. They know how to create a play and create space. And Swag's a guy that's gonna find that space and then bury the puck. And that's what I saw last night out of him. He looked great. And we'll see whether it keeps on going or not. I don't know. I think Cortez and Tom FTW are pretty good complementary players to Swag. I think the way that they play complements his game. But some teams are probably going to be able to shut that down. So we'll see what happens.
Next name on this list is Edge. Edge, man, you guys remember, maybe some of you do remember, some of you don't. This guy had a phenomenal season. I want to say it was season number 3 or season number 4. I'm going to pull that up right now. It was season number 3. Edge had 67 points in 27 games. He averaged almost 3 per game. That bought him a 6 overall pick in the season 4 draft to who took him? I forget. And then since then, he really struggled to find his mark and really get back into the swing of things. But here in season number 8 and 18 games played, he's got 28 points. Again, not maybe as high as the points per game of some of the others, but it's nice to see him back up on that list and contributing. Fergie, you've been playing in this league a while. Maybe you know a little bit about Edge, but are you happy to see guys like that who maybe fall off the map for a bit and then they can kind of grind their way back and have seasons like this?
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I think it's interesting to know that. I mean, there's somebody. I think what did he get picked this last draft? Was it 4th or 5th round? 5th round, I think.
5th? No, 4th. I think it was 4th.
Right, whatever, somewhere around there. Nonetheless, I mean, the guy got picked at the later rounds of the draft, and he's still contributing to his team. So I mean, it's nice to be able to rely on somebody like that you can pick late, and he's still going to contribute. You're not going to be trying to avoid giving the puck or whatever. No, he's having a good season. I think he'll come around and might even improve a little bit yet. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think it's a good thing for obviously the league. It creates more parity, having more people that are able to play at a high level at all positions. So,
next thing I want to talk about struggling names that may have been drafted within the top 5, and I'm staring at 2 of them right now. Dalai Lama, your number 1 overall pick in this draft. Through 15 games, he has 26 points. Now, is that bad? No. I mean, 1.5 per is not necessarily bad. But my point in bringing up the name is that obviously when you take somebody at number 1 overall, whether it be like a D-Mart or whoever over years past, and no regrets, he's like, you just assume and think you're going to see him in the top 5. But sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. You're still figuring things out. Does that mean they won't be there in the end? Of course not. I think in the end of it, you're going to see Dali in the top 10 in scoring. But I'll send it to you, Cortez. Is it a little surprising to see him, be where it is? Do you think his team obviously plays a part in this? Like, where's your head at as far as Dalai Lama's slow start?
It's weird because Dolly's one of those players that you can go into the series knowing how he plays, and it doesn't matter because he's very shifty. He knows how to put the puck in the net. And I think teams are focusing very defensively on them. And I think with Shea still trying to figure out how to play, and then having who was Steven on the other side, most defensive structures focused on covering Dolly and making sure he can't get to the middle, which made it so they had to use other people. And then you need to rely on someone like Dom Silva, who I love Dom. Like, I just want to get that out there. Who jokingly in every game, like his guy will continuously miss one-timers. It's nothing to do with him. His guy will just continuously hit the post or miss the net wide on the right of it on the right side. So like someone like him, exactly. So he like you don't have to worry. I know that's something stupid to say you don't have to worry about as much, but there are people that are like that. And it's funny that you said that about Dolly, because you take the other two people who were picked in the top 4 except for Webb, Brick, and Surprise Me. Surprise Me's below Dolly with 24 points, and he's someone that has led the league since he's been here in points each time. Or was it the Rocket Richard race? It was one or the other. Like he's always been top 2.
I was actually just going to make this point. I was going to read you these numbers. Ready? Name me this player. Ready? And this is based off points. 127 season 5, 106 season 6, 148 season 7. Name that player.
Surprise me.
Surprise me. And right now he's at a 2-point per game pace, which is really solid still. I mean, nobody's really, if you're at 2.5 in a competitive league, you're right there, man. I think Webb's the leader right now, and he's at like a 2.75 per game. And, I'm reading these numbers that surprise me. I'm a big believer in law of averages. I think Mac North's team's gotten a lot better now. You've got Chelsea on the back end. You've got Surprise Me now up front. I think that's a better fit and a better mix. No disrespect to Pac, but I think Surprise Me is a guy who can really carry a load. Mac North now has himself 2 legitimate top 5 picks, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the fact that Mac North now has himself in net who can be arguably a top. The one mistake that Mac North made was not drafting his team around him in net. He had ambitions to play forward. If he drafts his team around him playing in net, it's a different story. He's a top 5 goalie in this league. You have Chelsea, who's a top 2D, her and Drug. And then you have Surprise Me, who is arguably the 1A or 1B to Dan and Brian, no Regretskis. So you now have basically the best right side of the ice, or one of the best right sides of the ice in the league, and you have one of the top goaltenders. So I don't think enough people are talking about Mac getting that, and it's no surprise to me that they were able to win their first series last night. But so I'll send it to you, Fergie. You're a guy that kind of broke Surprise Me in. I know that you didn't refer him, but he played with you that first season. You expect these numbers to climb for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing with them, so they book him better or else. No, I mean, we had a good night last night. It was actually nice to get ahead in the game. It seemed like we were always battling from behind before. We'd always pick up one win in a series. It's kind of frustrating. We had an all close series, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But no, me and him, we got along really well when I drafted him his first season in the league, and we're starting to pick that up after we got to play. Finally, we got to play together for a week after I was gone last week, and so we finally got 2 series under our belt with me and him playing both wingers, and I think we're starting to get some stuff going. Obviously, having Chelsea in the back end helps a ton. I think we just got a few things to work on as a team, and I think we can become really dangerous because we've done really well as a team defensively. I think we've held teams really well, in my own opinion. So I think that's one thing that's going to help us in the long run here is where we end up and if we can keep our defense rolling the way it's been.
Hey, is BBX your center?
Huh? I can't hear you.
Right now? Is BBX your center right now?
I think.
Yes.
Okay.
So
who's your lefty?
Lefty is Beautiful Wiener. Surprise me, brother.
Oh, he just got traded there. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, from here, I want to give some D-man love, man. I think that listen, I know that points aren't the best way to judge and dictate a D-man. Really, I know in years past, Pixel had formulated this core, not Corsi. It was like a D rating number. Maybe we can get that back. I mean, it's just a little something that takes into account all aspects of the game. It takes into account defense, like how many points you give up to your winger. Again, it's never going to be a perfect system, but it's something that we can look into reviving. But like you see D-Mart here averaging, about 1.75 points per game. He's playing with no Regretskis. He's obviously heavily involved in the offense, 20 points in 12 games. Here's a name that's kind of again revival. Desired Customs. Keith playing for Joey Stopa, 15 games played. He's got 18 points, plus 12. He seems to really be reaping the benefits of playing with this team. What do you think? I'll send it to you, Pale. Like Desire Customs, a guy who's like kind of been bounced around. He's captain a couple seasons, but when he hasn't captained, he really hasn't been playing. I know he had some scheduling issues last year, but are you excited to see a name like like Desire Customs, who hasn't been really mentioned that much of late?
Yeah, I mean, first off, Desire Customs in this league has traditionally been a center or a right wing. So to see him like make the transition to D and then excel at it is pretty exciting. Last season he kind of He wasn't a captain last season, was he? I don't think he was.
No,
anyway,
he's not. No.
Yeah, I think he went pretty late in the draft, and then this season he went pretty late in the draft. So, and he's a guy that went a little bit earlier in prior seasons and whatnot. Yeah, I think it's exciting to see from DC. He's a great guy. He's always fun to have in the party and whatnot. Really easy to deal with in the times that I've dealt with him in captain's chat and as captains. He just seems like a really solid dude. So to see him make the transition to defense and then do really well at it is exciting to see. Good for DC, man.
Let's look at goalies. I want to give some goalie love. Let's give some love to the attendees, man. Couple names. I'm super excited to see these names. Let's look at the goals against average here. Tomahawk. Among qualifying goaltenders, obviously we know the impressive run that Jets Killer went on versus Team Schwartz, where he shut them out not once but twice and held the ever MVP as Schwartz to 1 point in that series. But if you move past that, Tomahawk with a 1.97 goals against average, this is probably because he went to his teammates and told them to stop letting other teams shoot so much. That has obviously worked out well for them because
and then we let them shoot more after that.
Is that what happened? Okay, so the 1.97 goals against and the 84 save percentage is huge for me because, again, Tomahawk's a guy, had a good season a couple seasons ago and has really tailed off. He's just kind of been very quiet, not had great seasons. We obviously remember the Clancy Ozzy season where they really, really struggled. But what do you think, Fergie? I mean, you see a guy like Tomahawk. He's currently leading the league in basically all major categories right now. How do you feel about seeing something like that, seeing a different name up there?
I mean, it's good because the guy, he likes to talk. I mean, everybody knows he likes to think he's good, and he's proven it right now. I mean, he really is. So he's faced more shots than anybody in the league. He's made more saves than anybody in the league right now. So, I mean, he's putting his money where his mouth is. I mean, that's point and blank. He's leading every category, like you said, and he's helping that team out tremendously. I think he's a big asset for them, and I think that's part of the reason that they're having as much success as they are. So, kudos to him.
Well,
keep playing
you cannot blame it on his D is really good because he's actually faced the most shots in the league. Yep. There's games in hand there. Okay, he's played 18. A lot of the other teams have played 15 and less. But with that said, he's faced the most shots in the league currently right now. So this is clapping for Tomahawk because he's a big part of his team's success right now.
Fuck you, Tomahawk.
Well, this isn't to shit on anybody on Cortez's team, but they're giving up a lot of shots. You're giving up
because the thing is, it's actually our defensive strategy. I'm not kidding. I'll explain it why.
Hey, by the way, I want to let you know, Tomahawk, Cortez is stealing your thunder, not me. Okay, go ahead, Cortez.
No, because what's funny is the first thing out of my mouth was going to be a compliment to him. The reason I drafted him is he's playing in LG and he's actually one of the top goalies in the CHL right now, and I'm on the same team as him. And I see him play and I'm seeing him improve. And I saw that before the draft, and I was like, listen, people don't keep Tomahawk to that standard that he is. I know he's a much better goalie than what he comes off as. I was like, I'm going to draft him when I can, and that's going to happen. And then I did, and I was happy. Tomahawk makes those 1 or 2 big saves a game that we need when a one-timer that we give up is there or a breakaway. Pale had a penalty shot last night, and he saved it. He's coming up with those big saves when he needs them. But a majority of those shots, other than our No Regretsky series, are all from outside our basis of defense. They're coming from the blue line, or they're coming from the hash marks. They're not coming from one-timers, or they're not coming from the slot. We're able to keep that out, and that's why he's getting a lot of shots. Is because teams start to struggle, and they're like, oh, we just need to get a shot off because we're not finding other ways to get the puck to the net. That's why Swag we talked about the last show or whatever. That's why Swag went off on Tomahawk in the chat and just save the shot. Because they're mostly that. We know EA goals are a bitch, but at some point.
Has anyone noticed what
he's doing a great job?
Does anybody notice what Cortez just did? Or am I the only one who realized that? He took that opportunity to semi-backhand shit on his goaltender and shit on his colleague, Pale Poner, all in the same breath.
He did.
I wasn't listen, I'm hitting on anybody. Honestly, you can ask Pale. I didn't even make a write-up on his team other than to say fuck you Legion in it because, he had 2 backup players playing.
Oh, so backhanding him again. Good night.
No, I'm not.
Good night,
Cortez,
You can ask Pale. I literally messaged him. I was like,
Say
listen, if I make a write-up,
savage
you
is what
you,
just happened.
you,
Pale,
can
just
ask,
tell him
you
to
can ask
stop.
Pale. You can ask Pale. Literally,
Pale,
I
tell him
went
to
into him and I said to him, I was like, listen, I'm gonna make a write-up, but it's gonna be saying "fuck you, Legion." That's it. That's all it's
He
gonna say.
made a write-up that said "fuck you, Legion," and then he shit on Pale. Anyways,
yeah,
listen,
well-
man.
Woo.
Oh, did you hear me? Did you hear me half pumping it in the party earlier?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
like the most like I was sitting there like trying to be goofy, and it was just like nothing. And all I hear is Pale giggling because I'm like half cocking my bubble maker, and he's the only one laughing. I'm like, you know what? I will draft none of you. Everybody in this party besides Pale Palmer, I will
Man,
never.
I wasn't even here. You can't throw me in that boat yet.
No, everybody in that party.
not
So
us.
whoever was in that party, no go, no fly zone. Never to be drafted again. You all suck ever. One of was Brick, but we already know how that works, so that wasn't the thing anyway. But
He's always a little salty.
another goalie I want to touch on, and again, I'm all about the let's build back up. I soldier up. We all know the Sarge is a beast in net. He's on some pretty miserable fucking teams. But here he is, 2.11 goals against, 82 save percentage, man. He's having himself quite a year. So shout out to Sarge. I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. Another guy having a really, really solid season again. Sober enough, man. Sober enough is quietly getting it done. Like, it sounds crazy, but he's playing on Noah Gretzky's team. He's got the 2.2 goals against. The 79 save percentage isn't anything to write home about, but you know that team's going to score goals. I think Dan needs to get a little bit stronger on the back end. I mean, the offense is obviously there, but he's got to get stronger on the back end. As he gets stronger, Sober's numbers should take a dive as well. And shout out to Link Runner. Shout out to Link Runner. So happy for this dude. He's such a good dude. Really, really nice guy. Hasn't quite, I know he's been around, hasn't quite gotten his chance. Now he's getting it playing on Thamps' team. 1.99 goals against and basically an 80 save percentage. People are going to sit there and dispute. They run that really crazy trap, but you know what? He stops the pucks he's supposed to stop. So shout out to Link Runner. Another guy I want to give a little bit of a vibe to here is Sniper 0270, aka Dave, aka the crazy one. This dude's having a quiet good year playing on Marty's team. And the reason I say a quiet good year, he's actually faced the second most shots in the league. The 2.7 goals against isn't necessarily great, but that 80 save percentage is really, really nice. He's playing with a really good team that's going to score a lot of goals. I think that Marty needs to somehow shore up his right D spot. I think that there could potentially be a move. I don't know how it's looked. I haven't seen the team yet, but Marty McFly has been fine on right D, but I think if they get a true right D back there, obviously there's going to be a casualty in that, but if they can get a true right D some way, somehow, I think that team gets a little bit stronger, and I think Sniper gets some more help. But when you have BTW, welcome to the web. I think that it really, really works out nicely. So shout out to some of the goalies here, man. It's always nice to touch on these guys and give them a little bit of due. I want to give a shout out to Slicky, man, my goalie on my team. His numbers are in no way, shape, or form any reflection of what he's done thus far. That guy has been a fucking monster. We have not helped him out at all. That's going to change tonight when we play Schwartz's team. So I did say we were going to do a little bit of a shorter show today. I have a huge series tonight, guys. I am 2-7-3. And usually, are you flexing on camera, Pale? Did I just see you do that?
We're coming in strong on Drug Monkey tonight. It's happening.
Dude, did you guys see that? I'm literally in the background,
last night,
and I watched Pale Poner literally like this and the flex, and he was ready. Take your shirt off. I want to see it again. With that said,
it.
You don't want that.
Rip it.
You don't want that.
Just take it off and then hit him with one. Hit him with one.
You don't want that.
Hit him with one.
You'll be blinded by the light.
What? Dude, I'm pretty pale. We're all pretty white on this show. I've come to that realization. We're all
not
pretty
this white.
No, not that white, but we're all pretty white. So the thing. Listen, I'm gonna send around the horn here. Short show today. I know. I get it. I'm sorry. Pale. Anything to go on the way out? You said you're coming for Drug. Anything else to say to your opponent tonight?
Not a whole lot.
We already started the chirp. Finish it.
It's happening. Drug Monkey, look out, man. We're coming. Tonight is the night. We're turning around. I have my full team on for the first time this season, pretty much. We played against Schwartz with our full team too, but it's good to be back. We're gonna see what happens.
You got Sunny Delight. Sunny Delight's going to show up tonight. He's going to grace you with his presence.
Yeah, he is. He
Oh.
took off from LG for a night, and he's gonna play. He's gonna play.
Sunny Delight, welcome to the fucking league. Congratulations. Thanks for doing what you're supposed to do and show up for your games. Hallelujah. Fergie, you got anything on the way out, bud?
No, man. Looking forward to my series tonight. Good luck to Jelly and company. But, it's going to be fun. We got we just
I hope you win.
we're going to win. That's
I want
not
to see you
it.
fucking win because I want
He
to
just
see
gave away
Jelly
two
gets his
great players
goddamn
off his team. And
Hey,
he's
guess
telling his
what?
whole,
If
and
you
he's
win, I
telling
bet
his
you
whole
Jelly
team
doesn't
that they
do-
traped Mac. I mean, get real, Jelly. Come on.
If you guys beat Jelly tonight, hold on a sec. I'm going to take a sip.
By the way, rumor is Mac North's playing forward again.
What?
Who's in that?
Epic Heat Miser.
Mac, look at my face. Look at me, because I know you watch these fucking shows. What are you doing? Don't make the same mistake I did. Play your best. Play your best position. Play your best position. Do not make the same mistake I did. I love you. I love you sexually, and then even more than that, don't make the same mistake I did. Please, put your happy ass in net.
Just shut your mouth.
Put your happy ass in net. Thank you. Cortez, look at this fucking guy. He's such a I hate it. Oh, I got to play NHL 19. Look at me. I'm kicking back in my fucking chair. Do you have anything on the way out?
Other than fuck you, no, I'm pretty good. I'm just trying to play 19. You guys have
1v1 me, bro.
Yeah,
yo, listen, you guys have fun
brother.
playing your series. You guys just have fun playing your series. I'm gonna play
whatever. We are gonna have
on
fun.
the better game. But hey, we're
As
having that 3 weeks
always,
in a row.
this has been another edition of the Thursday Throwdown, your longest running episodic show in 239 history, longer than the Elitist, which is no longer a thing because they have died, longer than the Bro Show, which, I mean, yeah, I get it, Bro Show. Oh, look at us. We're the rebels. We'll tell everybody they suck dick. Whatever, dude. You ain't changing the fucking game. Keep putting the content out. I love everybody. Peace. I have to stop the broadcast. Hold on.